He went online and said he hired us in January 25 for the East Texas market with the understanding he could move to Dallas-Fort Worth. So he's in Tyler, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we said, yeah, you can do that. Sign a new deal if and when Dallas-Fort Worth becomes available.
Yep.
And there wasn't a miscommunication. It was just he did not want to sign a new deal, which was what we discussed.
Yeah.
He wanted to just swap territories and have a short-term commitment from there.
Yeah. Told him directly, we are not looking to clog this market up for 4 months.
4 months.
Starting from scratch. And that's essentially exactly what he wanted to do.
Absolutely. So he said he needed to close $250,000 of total revenue,
Mm-hmm.
which should have been easy because we had 120 something or whatever already closed.
Mm-hmm.
You got the opportunity to take the territory, but you did it in a way that honestly it was put us at an enormous disadvantage. And you knowingly did it because by all data, it would point to it looks like you did not plan on hitting your revenue guarantee. You wanted to take your $2.5–3 million pipeline and get out of here. And if we look at the sales pipeline here, the very first appointment at Tyler's $1,300, $3,500, $6,000, $580,000. You see that? The unfortunate thing is, right around the end of September, October, the proposals stopped going out. We went from a 78% proposal rate to, as soon as we signed this new deal, proposal rate dropped down to 25%. And then in the final months, if you can see here, look at all these that are marked scheduled. It is just almost like somebody intentionally gave up and tried not to send proposals or close deals. Strongly disagrees, and for which no evidence was provided. Like maybe this right here.
Bruh.
I don't know if that's like evidence, but that's certainly like Exhibit A. And if this guy had given a contract to these 30 some odd meetings or whatever that he didn't, I think he probably would have made an extra $100,000.
Or he did and he didn't tell us about it.
And again, we won't know. So then, near the end of the agreement, he was told that he's got a 45-day cancellation notice, like it was a surprise. It's not a surprise. It's literally in the contract. And the contract closeout process ultimately left him with a very poor experience overall. So no matter what, basically what he's saying is how it ended retroactively changed his whole experience. Something at the very end didn't go how you wanted it to go. And all of a sudden that invalidates the success that you had previously. It doesn't undo the work that you had. Okay. It doesn't undo or provided. It doesn't undo the success that he had. It doesn't undo his $2.5–3 million pipeline. It doesn't undo any of that. It just means he's irritated and angry and bitter that we called him out on the bullshit.
What's up, fellas?
So,
Episode 69 of the podcast.
fitting.
What's up, fellas?
And
Fitting.
it's an emergency press conference.
Emergency press conference.
Where would you like to begin?
I don't know.
Where do you want to start?
I don't know. There's some, I'm trying to be more easygoing and collected and talking about stuff. Oh, we got a guy that blasted us. He bravely waited until we were done working for him and then went online. Didn't have the guts to say it while we were working for him. So, we cover stuff transparently. And David Espinoza at Shepherd Commercial Roofing went online and left us a tasty little review and left out what I think are some key details. So he went online and said he hired us in January 25 for the East Texas market with the understanding he could move to Dallas-Fort Worth. So he's in Tyler, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we said, yeah, you can do that. Sign a new deal if and when Dallas-Fort Worth becomes available.
Yep.
Well, although he says there was an early miscommunication, we did accommodate
We did.
That's a delicate way of saying it, I would think.
Sure.
And you guys are on fulfillment working for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to negotiate this, so I think what actually had happened. Oops, sorry if I scroll over here. Oh my gosh. Doing the thing that Matt said don't do. I think what happened was we were like, hey, Dallas Fort Worth is available. And why did Dallas become available again?
We had a certain sales rep that went to a client. I don't know if we say names.
Sure.
And Huso hired our sales rep that was working for the Dallas client. And and so they were not interested in renewing, which that is why there's non-solicitation clauses in the agreements now. And so the market came available.
Yeah.
And,
We'd say it. His name was Parker.
Yep.
Parker Floria. Did the awesome move of going to work directly for one of our clients, Huso.
Mhm.
Huso is Japanese for honor.
Apparently.
So, gosh, I didn't even know that. I didn't make that connection. Okay, well, yeah, probably not a great thing to get a rep change right when you're about to renew.
Yeah.
Things were going good otherwise,
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a kick in the pants for sure.
So yeah, got a new rep at the time. Renewal was coming up and weren't interested. Like they probably could have been if that wouldn't happen. So
Yeah.
let David know. And I remember there were 4 months left of his current term, and he wanted to start all over from scratch in a market like Dallas that was very large.
Mm-hmm.
Said, no, we're not trying to clog this market up for 4 months and start all over when we start having traction. How much did you have closed for him in like the 5 months or 6 months or whatever it was that you'd been calling that for?
It was about 120,000 or so with a
Yeah.
couple smaller projects going on.
Yeah.
About 120 grand. We'll pull that one up here real quick. It's kind of hard to find because there's just so many appointments and deals. It's kind of hard to sort through them all. This one says 112.5. Is that the one that
And then
was the
he had
big one.
some smaller ones that also went through, like
Mhm.
people calling back, 3 or 4 months later wanting some minor repairs done, just said, remembered your name, remembered you.
Yeah.
And they either saved his number or saved my number. So I had a
Yeah.
couple people calling me back even after.
So when you set up this meeting, the prospect said they were doing repairs and replacements with all their properties. There are a handful in the area. Gave him a specific property to go out to. They're doing partial replacements here and plan to do the rest as well. 11,000 square foot for a specific portion. Pre-existing gravel and tar. They want to make it metal instead of TPO because of the harsh weather. He had gotten approval for roofing and is working on getting more. Very old roof, 1 to 2 degree pitch. Internal access ladder is way faster. Okay. So that was in May.
That's about right.
Received an inbound yesterday requesting that we get the roof quote out ASAP, updated Salesforce. So like we didn't even send them the quote. They had to call you and ask for the quote.
Yeah, he was saying that they're ready to get the ball rolling as long as the price is what they're looking or expecting it to be.
Well,
They're
hey,
ready to go.
hey, you know what? That is a strategy. Pay us to set up sales meetings for you, and then you can go on them and then make the prospect call you or us back and beg for a proposal. That's anyway, probably not the best way to do it. You should probably just go on meetings and get everybody a proposal. Anyway, went up to 112,500 and he got the contract signed. So how are things going at this point? Are they relatively good or because I know Kaden, you said that when you started working with him, it was a little rough or
Yeah, I forget from the very beginning, but we might have had a rep switch or like a management switch or something to fully accommodate him. But I had took him on, and he was trying to get out of his contract just a little early. He was trying to breach. He wasn't happy or something similar along those lines. And I had to kind of get him off the rocking boat a little, stabilize him, just be like, David, we got something here. Like, just trust in Dillon. You like working with him. So just took a little convincing whenever I first met David. That was like first day one. I already am getting emails about wanting to cancel and leave. So that was lovely. But it worked out. I mean, we were that was after we met and closing good deals, getting a bunch of proposals out. So I'd say it was working whenever, I told him he trusted in me and trusted in Dillon. So,
yeah, I mean, there's just so much to cover here. But anyway, we'll go back and look at some of these appointments. But okay, so we start service. It's going well. He's getting a gazillion appointments, getting a lot of proposals, closing business. Then Dallas becomes available, and there wasn't a miscommunication. It was just he did not want to sign a new deal, which was what we discussed.
Yeah.
He wanted to just swap territories and have a short-term commitment from there.
Yeah.
Did we pass up on any deals in Dallas? I thought we had one we had to say no to. Guys we couldn't call back.
I know that our current partner in Fort Worth wanted the whole thing, but was happy that he at least got Fort Worth. Yeah, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I mean, he stopped prospecting, but we told him directly, we are not looking to clog this market up for 4 months, starting from scratch. And that's essentially exactly what he wanted to do.
Absolutely. And then he put in a revenue guarantee, which his first agreement did not have. So he said he needed to close $250,000 of total revenue, which should have been easy because we had 120 something or whatever already closed. I think it's awesome, Matt. If you look at this review, we established the revenue goals together.
Yeah,
it's a cute way of saying it. I think it was I demand that you give into these terms, otherwise I'm going to go tell that you guys are breaching your contract. And very early on, he was using those terms. So if you look at this, email here in September, we're saying you can make the switch to Dallas. We just don't want to make this switch for only 4 months. We want to make the transfer happen as much as you. So feel free to give me a call. And he tells you, Sam, wouldn't that be a breach of contract?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Well, here's an email right here. It's like, well, no, it's not a breach of contract. We asked to move to Dallas, and it's like, you've got the option to move to Dallas.
Yeah.
So it's just very confrontational for basically no reason. So then, near the end of the agreement, he was told that he's got a 45-day cancellation notice, like it was a surprise. It's not a surprise. It's literally in the contract. And we needed time to transition, the market or try to find someone else to work with there. Like, we're not just some fountain of money. We have customers. If we're working for you, we take the money you pay us to pay Dillon. Okay. So that's not like some underhanded move. And I don't appreciate you writing that you were told you have a cancellation policy like it's a surprise. And during the final conversation, he says, and I don't know, there's multiple conversations, hard to keep track of them, but basically it all revolves around he's going to breach his contract. And if we don't let him or blah, 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 he doesn't want to pay anymore, yada, yada, yada. You go and you disparage us and do basically what he did anyway on here, and it sucks. I question whether or not he was actually trying to close any deals, And if we look at the sales pipeline here and just go to appointments, we're going to zoom in, and here we'll go by the date that it was created. So there's 70 some odd sales appointments. And Matt, do you see over here how we keep scrolling up? The very first appointment at Tyler's, $1,300, $3,500, $6,000, $580,000. You see that?
Yeah.
It's a very consistent, approach. Even these are marked completed. They should have had proposals.
Right.
Excuse me. But I had calculated it up. He's got like $2.6 million in proposals, which is stellar. The unfortunate thing is right around the end of September, October, the proposals stopped going out. We went from a 78% proposal rate to, as soon as we signed this new deal, proposal rate dropped down to 25%. And then in the final months, if you can see here, look at all these that are marked scheduled. It is just almost like somebody intentionally gave up and tried not to send proposals or close deals. Or maybe he did send a bunch of proposals and he just didn't tell us. Either way, it's not good. So this is why the revenue guarantees were sensitive about this, you know? And yeah, you're darn right. If we decide to work with you and we put in a revenue guarantee, you better make sure that you hit it. In my response that I wrote while we were, what was that? Slamming stuff.
It's a piece of equipment. We're good.
Yeah, just a piece of expensive equipment. Whatever.
All good.
Like, look at this. This is a violation of trust. It really does suck. Okay. And then when you go and you look at this contract, do we have a guarantee to provide a contract yet in here? No.
No, that's one of the reasons why we had to add it.
That's probably why we have it now, right? And stuff like this. I wrote in my response, this strategy is commonly referred to in professional sports as tanking.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you don't want to get a certain amount of wins so you can get a draft pick, or maybe you don't want to submit a certain amount of proposals or try to close them because you don't want to hit your revenue goal. Again, this is just speculation. I don't know. I've tried calling him. He won't call me back.
I won't answer my calls either.
Answer your calls when you call him today?
No, texted him.
Text him. Did he text you back?
Check. Nope.
But he did get on here and say that, hey, after he made the review, I called him and said, like, you know, it's defamation or slander or whatever. And it is. I don't know what to come on here and say that, you know, you had a great experience. And basically because I questioned whether or not he was trying. And even though he strongly disagrees, if you can see this, Matt, strongly disagrees, and for which no evidence was provided. Like maybe this right here. I don't know if that's like evidence, but that's certainly like exhibit A. Hey, here's why I might think that you aren't necessarily trying to close a bunch of deals. 78% proposal rate in the first half of the program. It's immediately dropped to 26 and then 4.7%. Your close rate went from 10, 11% to 0. When if you closed only $100,000 more, you would have been committed to us for another
year.
Another year.
With another revenue goal.
We explained this very situation to the customer that we signed up today. And I can't use the words that he used.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically said, I would have to be mentally disabled.
To put it lightly.
That's a delicate way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
To act like that, to take that strategy. And people don't believe it when I tell them, here's why we do this. So this seems really stupid. Why is there a guarantee to provide a contract in the Arsenal service agreement?
Because you put us to a revenue guarantee. How can I do that if you don't give contracts?
How am I going to guarantee you're going to make any money? I can't decide your price. I can't make you try. I can't make you be honest. I can say that you have to put in a contract. And if this guy had given a contract to these 30 some odd meetings or whatever that he didn't, I think he probably would have made an extra $100,000.
Or he did and he didn't tell us about it.
And again, we won't know. I got better things to do than really sit down and press it. But, you know, I think it's funny that he says his intent is not to harm our business, but it's to share so other can make informed decisions. I will tell you this, anytime you got something, you know, good to say, I think it's awesome. I don't think I need to do the due diligence and say, oh yeah, that's great. You know, here's the reason why, because it's pretty self-evident. I will say this though, if you're going to go say that we did a really bad job, we will open up the files and we will show you. So again, let's highlight this. Look at all these proposals. Scrolling up. One job was $1 million something.
Yeah.
And why did we lose it?
That one I called back to Prospect and they said that they ended up finding a contractor. It was about 3 weeks after we had gotten a proposal to him.
Yeah. 3 weeks after?
Yeah.
We gave them he gave them a proposal.
So we gave them a proposal, I don't know how long, and then within 3 weeks they already had contract signed. So that one just turned out to be a really quick turnaround for the company, but we just weren't in favor of it.
They went to somebody else. What about some of these other appointments that you think might be out there?
So, some appointment that you said it came back and was asking for additional quotes on something that was something from like a year before, like a couple months ago? Or am I not remembering that correctly?
That was the one that he closed
one.
where they had,
Yeah.
they were talking about like partial replacement, changing the roof material.
Yeah.
And they had other facilities in the area they were looking to get work done. And so they ended up coming back, which I don't have much information on how that one progressed, but they had another roof they were looking to get a replacement quote on.
I mean, these are killer appointments. This one is an 11 building campus. This apartment deal. What happened with this? I'd want to communicate with, talk about purchasing power and blah, 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 blah. And they are also considered qualify through. What's that? What's qualified through? Matt can blurb it. Sorry, Matt. Make it work for you to edit stuff.
What was with that one, Dill?
That's considered partially owned by them, partially through being like, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so they
okay.
had ties between both of them.
We had to do it. I'm looking at all these meetings that he did not give proposals on, and I guess the call recording value, it's not available because it's like an email.
Could be,
whether
right?
it's emails or.
So, like, let's check this one out. They definitely want to meet because they would want our quotes for the future. They are all covered for roofs this year's since they've already bidded them, but got a meeting for April 6th. Should be a great meeting. This is a huge commercial property management company. Very excited to hear us out. So it looks like they've got their budget kind of already figured out for this year. Get in for the next one.
I might have set that one too, last day of the month or so, but that was a good one.
Yeah.
Huge.
So again, that's like a standard, hey, sales appointment. We got work that's coming up.
Yeah, maybe not for one building I'd called for, but they got
not an immediate
boatload of other ones. So
that's just the most recent one. I'm going through the most recent meetings. Okay, then the one before that, March 27th. Recap Dillon's last call. They have a management company. They do like them. They think they're good for the job, but they are always replacing these buildings. So it's a good time to take over. Lots of future projects lined up. They're wanting a re-roof at least 2+ buildings this year. Shingle roofs out here. Square foot on each one is about 7,000 per building. There are 20 to 30 buildings, around 175,000 square feet across all the buildings. This will be more intro level, of course, to see, which buildings are a priority. You got 20 or 30 buildings, I guess,
Can't send them all in one the same day.
Maybe go quote them all, right?
Basically, that one they had to go through the scopes that they've received from, tenants having issues and letting them know, or just stuff they already knew, top of mind. So they had to create basically a portfolio of which ones have a full issue.
Yeah. Or maybe it's too big. It's too big. It's too far out. Here's one. It's 30,000 square feet. You did this one on March 20th. They got leaks throughout the facility. The roof is aged. I like that. That's really straight to the point. Said that we can give them a call next Friday, discuss their need. Told them my goal would be to see about stopping by while out that way. And I have spoken a few times throughout the last 6 months. 30,000 square foot center. Active, pain points, and needs. Any updates on that one?
Not sure. That was towards the end of last month, right? Something around there.
Yeah. March 19th. You spoke with this decision maker last summer. They said follow up in the new year. He's got time for us to come out on the 27th. They have issues, and we can meet with them there. He will have maintenance team meet with us as well, so they can take us up to the roof and get assessments done. Said provide quotes for issues. Go to the front desk. 36,000 square foot. Is it a burr membrane or BUR? What do the guys say?
They just want the built up membranes have.
Built up membrane. They want a quote for the roof. They have active issues. 9 out of 10. Quality control.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a shitty experience to me, David. Next one. Here's a university. I mean, you can't even get the square footage, I guess, because it's probably too big. Multiple buildings. Senior director of operations will join the decision maker. Plans to get in person, do a full tour of the campus. Previous notes, they did around $2 million with insurance claims last spring. He got 70% of the roofs done. Still need another 30% done along with the gutters. Yeah, only maybe if you would have hired us sooner. You could have got out there sooner and done it. So this is another thing. Like, there's two different types of guys. There's guys who will see this and say, oh, it's too late. I don't want the last 30%. I need the whole thing, and you're running a business and you sticking your nose up at stuff. There's other guys who want to get after it and close deals like that. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So, again, Matt, look at all these deals. There's all different types of deals. Deals that are thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, $1 million plus, 70 meetings in about a year, and a clear, stark difference between the beginning when there wasn't a way to wiggle out with a revenue guarantee, and then a clear difference on when you could wiggle out by not hitting a revenue guarantee.
You can see exactly where he fell off.
Yeah. And I think it's insulting to say that I did not provide any evidence or that I'm some horrible person or you don't like my candor, whatever it is, because I called that into question. I think it's a very reasonable thing to say. So, while you were professional and helpful, the lack of flexibility that we provided, evidently switching from Tyler, Texas to Dallas, blocking out a better customer and a better deal, giving him a shorter term with a revenue guarantee that by all means a reasonable person would at least question or not if he tried to hit it. Evidently that wasn't flexible enough. The tone of communication, which is you need to abide by your agreement.
I think that's pretty straightforward.
It's mean, I guess.
Yeah.
And the contract closeout process ultimately left him with a very poor experience overall. So no matter what, basically what he's saying is how it ended retroactively changed his whole experience. And I don't appreciate stuff like that because it's patently false. Can't do that. It's not possible. You cannot have a wonderful experience and then say because something at the very end didn't go how you wanted it to go, and all of a sudden that invalidates the success that you had previously. It doesn't undo the work that you had. Okay. It doesn't undo or provided. It doesn't undo the success that he had. It doesn't undo his $2.5-3 million pipeline. It doesn't undo any of that. It just means he's irritated and angry and bitter that we called him out on the bullshit. And he's not interested in further conflict, I guess. He doesn't want to hurt us. He just left a very
hurtful review.
Yeah, hurtful, damaging review. Said that I didn't give any examples of why we might be questioning his commitment. Well, there you go. There's your proof. We were totally flexible with you. We met you on the terms that you wanted. I didn't want to give you that deal, but you said you'd go blast us if we didn't give it to you.
Yeah. It said verbatim, if it becomes available, client will be given first opportunity to take it. And that's what we did.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Let's go back and look at their original deal.
Those are the terms that he wrote, but mind you.
Well, but he was probably coerced into doing that, right? Yeah. Let's see. If Arsenal begins servicing a direct competitor within client's market, the client may terminate. Must include Tyler, Longview, Jacksonville. If DFW becomes, there's so many freaking terms in this custom box that didn't even fit on the page. If it becomes available, client will be given first opportunity to take territory. You got the opportunity to take the territory, but you did it in a way that honestly, it was put us at an enormous disadvantage. And you knowingly did it because by all data, it would point to it looks like you did not plan on hitting your revenue guarantee. You wanted to take your $2.5-3 million pipeline and get out of here. Not have to pay anything. Okay. You got any other things to add to that?
No, it's a shame. I mean, passed up other roofers and, said that he would abide by the agreement. If he didn't get Dallas with the terms he wanted, he would have just kept the original one.
No. Well, that's
what he said. He said that he was going to, he's like, if you don't give me Dallas, then, you're breaching your side of the agreement. That's what we agreed on, but fine. I'll sit here. Like almost guilt tripping us. If you remember that call.
He was going to breach. Well, I think it was, but I'm going to go tell everybody about what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
He was going to say that we didn't give it to him after we repeated, because it wasn't just a one and done. Like, it took weeks to try to make him happy, because all he wanted to do is just pick up his operation, set it in Dallas for 4 months or whatever, and that was it. I mean, give us no chance to do anything there. And we bent over backwards for him.
Do we offer a 4-month revenue guarantee right now? What's our revenue guarantee?
18 months.
It's 18 months.
18 months.
For how much? How much? $500,000?
Very conservative $500,000.
Very conservative $500,000. So $250,000. I mean, that should be at least 9 months. You got it in 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were at a major disadvantage.
Yeah.
So, but again, we willingly did it. I mean, I didn't want him to go online and blast us and whatever. And I really don't want to set the precedent, and we kind of just need to quit playing ball with guys that do this kind of stuff. Just tell them, hey, you can sign the deal. And if you don't, whatever, if you go online and say that we didn't do it, we'll just make a video and, post what actually happened.
We do not offer right of first refusals or anything like that anymore. It's just too much to keep track of.
And I'm sorry to bring you guys in on meetings like that. It sucks, and it's kind of takes the wind out of my sails. But hundreds of clients, and every now and then some guy goes on and complains. It's something about roofers. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like every roofer is going to leave a bad review, but it's almost like every bad review is a roofer.
It's only roofers.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should just stop working with them. I'm just teasing. We're not going to do that. Anything that you want to, any other thoughts to share? Deals that you're hoping would close soon, or interesting flavor to add?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see just how some of them progress. I haven't really heard much of an update on, like the one that he closed, because I don't know how big the other property was either. I don't know if it was a smaller one or if it was, 5 times bigger. I know the different facilities that they have in the area ranged in size. It all wasn't copy and paste size of the facility, so it really could be huge proposal, small. I don't know.
One of the deals that was large, it was the big re-roof. There was other re-roofs to do.
Mm-hmm.
The other buildings that they owned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were calling back wanting re-roof quotes, right?
Yeah, he ended up
Oh.
calling David back, and
Another
then I didn't have any direct update on like the pricing that they.
Oh, David
We're
didn't
working
tell
on-
you what the other buildings were getting.
Maybe
Quoted for.
maybe they weren't quoted yet or whatnot, but I don't know. They need more work
I didn't hear
done.
an update at least of where it was now, but
When was that?
I'm not sure. Not sure how long it's been now.
Weeks ago? Months ago?
Probably months ago.
Probably a couple months. So
Ironically, towards the end of a $250,000 revenue guarantee that needed to be met.
That's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird.
Anything else? No, that's important piece of information.
I mean, that's one of the main things. I mean, overall, David and I had good communication, like, especially at the beginning. Him and I had great conversations. He was professional with me. I was with him. And that just kind of digressed where we weren't really communicating as often, weren't really sitting down, him and his computer, me and my own computer, walk through each appointment. And it just kind of digressed from there.
Yeah. It's usually a pretty good sign that things aren't heading towards a good direction when you try to call a client and they will no longer sit down and go through appointments one at a time with you. It's either they're checked out or they are withholding information, which it sucks. But it is what it is. What about you, Kaden?
Kind of chime in what you said about he's letting one, maybe something sour happened at the end. I think it just takes a lot of credit away from Dillon's hard work over the course of a year or whatnot. Like, I think you just deserve better than a 1-star review. Like, honestly, like you did a hell of a job, and just as a team, everybody like bending over backwards from the outskirts, Tyler or whatever his first original market was, to Fort Worth, and you just like restarting your whole sales process in a huge MSA. That can be difficult, right? To get that up and running with 4 or 6 months, however long it was. Like, you did a really good job. I just don't think you personally deserved a 1-star review. So that's all I got. I mean,
it's true. You did a fantastic job.
I actually had a really good relationship with David. I liked him. Dillon liked him. But, at the end, I just feel like that review just isn't worthy of Dillon's performance and, honestly, his relationship with him. Like, they had a really good relationship, just talking, calling at the beginning, especially getting updates on proposals, jobs, all that. So, yeah, just think you just honestly deserve better than a 1-star review. So.
Yeah, I think his March. Can we zoom in on this? Is this his last partner meeting?
Might have been February or March, somewhere around there.
It says March 2026 at 4:30 p.m. His score was 7 out of 10.
Oh yeah,
which is like the standard score that we're shooting for. Phone call, email exchange. David sent a point. He's not renewing this month and has been replaced with another roofer. Will not be here next month. Great.
No.
And he gave you a 7. That doesn't sound like a 1-star review. Before that,
even the other ones are good. Should be good rating. I mean,
it was a 7 or above the whole time. 8s and 7s. So, again, it's being petty, it's being bitter. It is trying to leave and, try to stir up some discord among us. And I think it's good that we can talk about things and acknowledge them for what they are. Like, Dillon does a great job. He did a great job for you, David, and you're a turd for going and saying a 1-star review. I understand you may not like me for holding you accountable, but rarely does anybody like the guy that's got to hold them accountable. I don't want to tell you that you need to honor your contract. I just expect that you do it, but sometimes people don't do it. I don't want to remind you need to hop on partner meetings and tell us what you think. I don't want to remind you that you need to talk to Dillon and give him updates about contracts and proposals, but this is a struggle that our industry has. So we're not going to let it affect us. We'll keep doing great work. We're not going to let it bring us down, but if you're a new customer or you're thinking about becoming a new customer and you get on our agreement and you're like, man, why does it say no solicitation of employees? Well, because it screws a bunch of stuff up and it's not fair. It's not the spirit of our deal. Man, why does it say I have to guarantee to provide a contract?
Because your continued partnership is dependent on you closing business. And how are you going to close business if you don't give contracts?
So why wouldn't you want to?
I would like the best shot possible of you closing business.
And people, and then the number one complaint would be like, I guess I'm not closing enough business is what, or the thought before anybody gets signed up is like, well, I want to be able to quit if I'm not making enough money. It's like, well, yeah, we'll give everybody a contract. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. Why would I do that? So you could make some money.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you have a revenue guarantee, So anyway, Dillon, great job. Kaden, great job. Sam, great job. David, we wish you luck. We hope you at some point edit your review to be an accurate representation of what happened. But, in summary, we did a hell of a job for you. Dillon especially did a hell of a job for you. We were super flexible. We let you change territories. We didn't even make you do a whole new term length. You got 4 months with a revenue guarantee. Damn near don't want to even admit that we did that because then people are going to go ask us for the same thing. But, it's just a learning lesson. We won't do it. To say that we're not flexible is ridiculous. The tone of communication, yeah, it's not like thrilling. We're not super happy to remind you that you've got to honor your commitment and agreements. And the contract closeout process, it's who cares? Who cares if you didn't like it? That doesn't mean that we did a bad job for you. It just means you didn't like the fact that you didn't get to breach your contract, I guess. I don't know. And you don't like me, but I don't care. I just care that we do a good job for our customers, and our guys enjoy working for clients. That's it. We're going to run a good company, and occasionally we'll get a stinker of a review like this, and we will just make a video and talk about what actually happened. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you.
Boom.